Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meeting House in Springfield, Vermont. On this beautiful, beautiful fall day, this is absolutely gorgeous today. For generations, we have envisioned a better world, an earth made fair, and all of her people one. We welcome all who wish to join us in fulfilling this vision. My name is Bill Brink, and I'm one of the trustees. If you're a guest with us today, we invite you to simply enjoy being with us. You're welcome to join us after the service for refreshments and conversation.
We gather in reverence. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life.
The wonder of this moment.
The wonder of being together, so close, yet so apart.
Each hidden in our own secret chamber.
Each listening, each trying to speak.
Yet none fully understanding, none fully understood.
We gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not, nor ears can detect.
That hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure.
That was by Sophia Lyon-Fahs.
So I have a story for all ages today. We're going to talk a little bit about Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Tony has created a beautiful altar for us, and I hope everyone will have a chance to see that. The Day of the Dead is a celebration of life. It's a festival that honors all loved ones no longer alive. It's a happy time. Families make altars. And these altars have levels that represent the journey between heaven and earth. The altars usually have the representation of the four elements: water, wind, earth, and fire. It represents also four directions. And they have calaveras. Calaveras are offerings. There's lots of dancing and celebration. On the altars, we usually see water in pitchers and sugar skulls. There's bread, special bread for the Day of the Dead. There's paper banners that represents wind. There's pictures of our lost loved ones, and there's welcoming them back with some of their favorite items and lots of color. We can sometimes see marigolds and butterflies and flowered hats and face painting. All of these things are represented on the Day of the Dead. It's an ancient tradition. It's celebrated in Mexico, Ecuador, Guatemala, and generally when there are Latino people present, there will be celebrations for the Day of the Dead. Now, the Day of the Dead is traditionally celebrated on November 1st, All Souls Day, and November 2nd, All Saints Day. The first day is usually commemorating children who have passed to the next journey into their next part of life. And the second day is for celebrating adults who have passed to the journey of the rest of their life. It's filled with music and dancing and parades and face painting. And the monarch butterfly is especially represented because they believe that it holds the spirits of our departed. And they traditionally return to Mexico for winter around November 1st. The calaveritas are the sugar skulls and the toys and the candles and the chocolates. They're there for a whimsical decoration to remind us of the circularity, the circularity of life. And they represent joyful afterlife. So I hope you have a wonderful celebration when you keep this in mind, November 1st and 2nd. The Day of the Dead.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Please join me in the recitation of our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in freedom, to seek knowledge to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve the needs of all beings, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and the source of our being.
Well, my turn.
Yes.
Last week, I mentioned and read from a talk that David Cortland had given about his book, The Great Turning, which the synopsis of this talk, Larry had given me a copy of, and there's a lot of wonderful things in it. If you don't have time to read the book. And one of the things that struck me seemed very applicable to this service. And we've asked Larry if he would read this, what we call the caterpillar butterfly story. It's just an amazing description of what happens. And hopefully it will help us spring off into some discussion a bit later. So I'm going to let Larry come up so you'll be near the mic and read the piece.
I understand.
You're just going to stand. Okay. All right.
This is the transformation through emergence. The story of the metamorphosis of the caterpillar to the butterfly, as told by evolution biologist Elizabeth Sahtouris, provides a helpful metaphor for the human metamorphosis from empire to earth community. The caterpillar is a voracious consumer that devotes its life to gorging on nature's bounty. When it has had its fill, it fastens itself to a convenient twig and wraps itself in a chrysalis to take a rest. Once it is snug, crisis strikes as the structures of its cellular tissue begin to dissolve into an organic soup. This represents disaster from the perspective of the caterpillar's lower wormed nature and opportunity for its higher butterfly nature. Guided by some deep inner wisdom, a number of organizer cells begin to rush around, gathering other cells into imaginal buds, multicellular structures that form crucial organs of a new creature. Here, if you look closely, you can begin to see the outlines of a monarch butterfly through the increasingly transparent chrysalis. correctly perceiving a threat to the old order, but misperceiving its source. The caterpillar's still intact immune system attributes the threat to the imaginal buds and attacks them as alien intruders. The cells that engage the work of creating the butterfly ultimately prevail by linking up with one another in a cooperative emergent process that gives birth to a new creature of extraordinary beauty that lives lightly on the earth, serves the regeneration of life by pollinating flowers, and has the capacity to traverse vast expanses of the North American continent to experience life's possibilities in ways the earthbound caterpillar could scarcely have imagined. We humans, similarly, stand on the threshold of a rebirth no less dramatic as our familiar institutional structures disintegrate around us. The transformation of the caterpillar is physical. Ours is cultural and spiritual. Whereas the caterpillar faces an outcome preordained by the experience of countless generations before and embedded in the genetic structure of its cells, we are path-breaking pioneers in uncharted territory. Our work is to assume the role of organizer cells engaged in forming cultural and institutional imaginal buds grounded in the principles of partnership in each of the three major spheres of human activity: cultural, economic, and political.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. And as I hope, hopefully we'll spring off into some discussion. First, though, we're going to let Anne Marie lead us in meditation to help us absorb all of this idea. Thank you, Anne Marie.
Thank you, Hallie. Thank you, Larry. So let us settle now for a time of meditation. We, the people of this earth time, we must remember to mind ourselves. We must remember to mind each other. So please take in the bounty of breath and bring it in deeply. And let it nourish your body. And let it nourish your soul. This is the essence of life. Place your hand on your heart and place your hand on your center. And let yourself just breathe naturally and fill yourself with this bounty of breath. Feel your life source. Feel your heartbeat. You are part of the great web of life. Within you are gifts for the healing of the world. Your body has the wisdom to mind you. Your body has the wisdom to care for you. Your body is a self-organizing healer. Within you are gifts for the healing of the world. Let us trust this ancient wisdom. It is ours. Let us lead it. Let us lead us in the ways of cooperating with all of life. Let us gather in this wisdom and emerge renewed and rested for our work, for our life, for ourselves, and for each other. Let us emerge renewed and rested for the work. And as you gently come back here to this beautiful sanctuary, I'd like you to think about what it is that we are, as a community, trying to rebirth. Why are we here? Thank you for joining me on this meditation. And Hallie, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Anne Marie. That was beautiful. And hopefully we'll help stimulate some discussion. We have good amount of time where we could just talk about the ideas and the questions that Anne Marie just raised. And so I'd like to welcome anyone who would like to come forth and help us move forward in all of these ways. Any comments? And Anne Marie will field comments from the Zoom people. It's a lot. I know it's a lot to think about, and it can be overwhelming, but it's so important to contemplate and try to field where we can go from here. There's so much going on in the world, which is so challenging to the ideals that we want to live toward, and how do we help to make it go in that direction that we want? How do we facilitate that? Big questions. For starters, we meet in a group and raise the questions, the ideas, and put forth a variety of ways that we maybe could help make this change. And again, I don't want to be doing all the talking, so I hope others will chime in here.
I have something to say.
Good, Julie.
And this may be a little disjointed because it's just coming from my heart and my head right now, but I'm thinking about All Saints Day and the Day of the Dead and the story of the butterfly, and how that connects to me, also to the Hindu god Shiva, who is the destroyer. But Shiva is the destroyer because Shiva destroys the bad to make way for the new. So Shiva is really about change. And that's the same thing that we think about with the Day of the Dead, is that, as you know, we're saying that there's this going away and something new arises from it. And that's the same as the butterflies. So we just have to, I think one of the things that's really, really important in this world vision that we have as this group of rebirthing Earth community is that what are the things that we need to leave behind? What are the things that we could let Shiva destroy? What are the things that could go into the chrysalis and mix around together and come out as the butterfly of this new world? And to me, just thinking of mixing all that together, for some reason that really works for me mentally, that we have to give something up in order to have something new. So that's where my mind is cooking right now. And I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Julaine. So any ideas about things we need to give up? I heard, I was complaining to somebody recently about all the noise now is gone. We still have lawnmower noise, but now we've got all the leaf blower noise. And,
I'm sorry.
how ridiculous I feel that is in so many ways. And of course, a lot of people just blow it out in the road, it's like, are you kidding me? And I heard somebody said, well, you know, in New York State, they have banned or are in the process of banning all motorized gasoline mowers and leaf blower things. I don't know if that's true, but I thought, wow, that's quite a step.
They did that in Burlington too.
Burlington?
Yeah, Burlington. there's a big-
Wow.
You know, they banned it in Burlington, they put a ban in Burlington as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, another baby step, but, and in the process, you know, can we figure out ways to not have to do it so much, right? Just
Right.
leave all of that. I mean, nature had, as we read in our story about God and lawn care, uh, 2 or 3 weeks ago, if we could learn to even leave a few leaves to help restore the earth. And I'm wondering when this could actually be brought out in schools and science classes and so on, that, gee, by the way, nature works pretty well without our interference in so many ways. And can we maybe get back to some of that? You know, how do we flip? How do we make it, even a transition as simple as that? It's a lot of metamorphosis of how we think and how we see things, you know. This short cropped lawn mowing, is that beautiful? Not to me anymore, not because I know.
We love
What?
nature. Yeah, come.
Yeah, so
What was that?
We love nature, and we wanted to say something about the meditation. You remember what you wanted to say?
Thank you, Grandma.
Oh, she can't hear you, honey. Come up, come up, come up. Go ahead.
Don't be shy.
You say it.
She wants to say thank you.
She was excited.
She wanted to say thank you for the meditation. She was holding her heart and her center. How did that make you feel? Good, thumbs up. And then she also said, do you remember the song about the mariposa? And mariposa means butterfly, even though Ria wasn't here for the butterfly story. So she's connecting in
The
some way.
butterfly is a song.
The butterfly is a song, mariposa, right? And you had asked what we connected with in Anne Marie's meditation. And I very much connected with taking the time to be still and to connect. It's very difficult, especially October for us with kids. There's just so many things every weekend. And it was very wonderful to hear that, especially in connection with Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, because every time that I take a moment to sit and to meditate, my ancestors do send messages. So it's a good way to reconnect with purpose and figure out what's important with all of these invitations to do so many things. So sitting and meditating connects me with the dead that have passed. And we're going to do some of that today, right? So thank you so much. Good to see everybody.
thank you,
Thank you for sharing.
thank you.
Emily.
You're lovely. Yes,
Who's that?
Deb is waving.
Deb?
Well,
we-
actually, I was waving to Rose.
Oh.
That's okay. It does strike me that, nature, you may have already said this, nature really is a cycle or a series of cycles. And I think about all the leaves in my yard, the leaves filled from one tree, filled my entire dooryard.
Mhm.
And they were really pretty with all these colors on the ground. And then, of course, it rained and they turned brown. And then there's this huge, like, boatload of brown leaves in our yard. But I know that the leaves will nourish the soil and provide homes over the winter for all kinds of little critters. And among them are probably some caterpillars who will turn into butterflies and moths next year. And lots of different little things that we don't always think about. Mushrooms and microbes and all sorts of wonderful things, and they all in turn feed the rest of the earth. And it continues on and on and on. And each time we have to get rid of something to replace it. So it's just really a metaphor for all of our life as we know it.
Good tip.
Thanks, Deb. I'd like to say something. I know that you and I had a conversation a few weeks ago about the lawn and things like that. And we recently got a new lawnmower, or not new, but a used lawnmower, and it's a push mower. And my husband really wanted to do the lawn. But he's so tired. He works at night, comes home during the day and sleeps. So it's really hard. We can't find a time to actually mow. And so I think he mowed the lawn maybe 1.5 times, like once, and maybe only a half of the lawn. So I talked with him about, not mowing, after we had this conversation about not mowing. And so we went out to dinner and I have to find the right time to talk to him about things like that. And so we talked and I gave him my opinion about doing the lawn, that he doesn't have time and he's tired and, and so he was like silent. And so then I said, I have a solution. And I said, you could do the front part if you're so concerned about what the lawn looks like to the town people and, all that kind of thing. And forget the backyard and the side yard. And he again was looking at me like, like, I don't know. And so I said, just think about it. Well, the outcome for this year is that he didn't do the lawn at all again. So he only did it like 1.5 or something like that. And it's still in me to get him to agree to just do the front. We don't have to do that. We have a huge yard. So we'll see.
Good.
Next year, I'll bring it up again and, maybe it will have percolated a
Yeah,
little bit.
All these things take time.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, they do.
Yeah,
But I thought it was a fantastic solution.
yes. It is.
Tina, we have deer that take care of our lawn.
Uh-huh,
In fact, I have a few bushes I have to put fences around
uh-huh.
because they love that hydrangea bush that, and
Ah.
they were really doing a number on that, but other than that, they keep it.
Goats would do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, did you hear what she said? She said, deer
Come in.
come into her yard. Well, she lives in a forest.
Yeah, there's 2 of them now, and I'm hoping that the hunters don't get them.
Oh,
One of them still had spots on it.
oh, a little baby.
They grow fast.
What?
They're growing up fast.
Ah, yeah.
Diane.
On the way over here in the car, Charlie Nardozzi, you can go back to listen to it, has 5 solutions for leaves this time of year, and doesn't involve mowing. It's just mow right over them, and then because if they're all heavy and all, of course, it might not be good. And then just different things, ways to use them in your have some in the house, to use them in your compost, mulch around your plants. So he just said, drive over them and then use all that as mulch.
Yeah, a lot of good uses.
And he says in such a cheerful, can-do voice. That's helpful.
Larry,
An hour ago, in downtown Springfield, I saw a baby black bear trotting along crossing the parking lot. I judged he was born this last spring, and my immediate reaction was, oh, how cute. Then I realized that poor fellow is probably scared to death
Yeah.
and lost. And I think it felt to me like the way I feel sometimes when I watch our political machinery driving on. And I think one thing we can work on, certainly I can work on, is not being depressed by overwhelming events.
That's a good suggestion. Yeah. Because if you're depressed, you don't want to do anything.
That's right.
And you, yeah, nothing
And
gets done.
we're not seeing the opportunity.
Right, right.
Right.
Good thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else from Zoom?
I'm going to tag on a little bit to what Larry said. When I was getting ready, we have some conversations about the service with the Worship and Arts Committee, and Larry came to join us for a little bit of that backroom chat. But we are often talking about, what indeed does, what helps lift us up and what inspires us. And I just wanted to say that I found looking into all these traditions and all the symbols of the Day of the Dead really did lift me up. It's so playful that there's so much joy when we think about celebrating life and what Deb, you said, about remembering the cycles of life and how they actually nurture us individual and they feed us in our meditations. I think Rosaline, you talked to that, visited by the souls of my ancestors and all the folks who inspire me. So I just wanted to say that it was a joy to put this together and to really immerse myself in all the symbology. So thank you.
Great.
I think I'll close this shortly, but I want to mention one thing about the song Homeward Bound. It has a very special meaning for me because it talks about somebody who was probably a farmer. When he says, bind me not to the pasture, chain me not to the plow, set me free to find my calling and I'll return to you somehow. And then again, later it says the same thing, bind me not to the pasture, chain me not to the plow, set me free. It reminds me very much of my father, who did not want to be a farmer, but was sent home from UVM during the war to tend the farm. And he never really got released from that. In the mid-60s, he finally said, okay, enough. And he went on to do everything from driving school bus to finally landing the first job as full-time assessor for the town of Springfield, at which he was very good. But soon after that, he got colon cancer, and within a couple of years, he was gone on his way in another world, metamorphosed and so on. And then some years after that, my nephew Michael is born, and he grows up, and lo and behold, not only does he have a character very much like my father, but he goes into economics, which was what my dad wanted to do. That was what he was studying at UVM. And Michael, my nephew, is now, and it has his MBA and works in that field. And one day when he came, some years ago, he's in his 30s now, with a girlfriend, and they came to the farm. He grew up in Michigan, where my sister ended up, but he came to visit the farm. And I knew about this song, having sung it in chorus. And I felt that my father was returning through Michael, and we were taking this walk in the upper fields, and I just felt the spirit of my father so strong and had been finally set free to follow what he really wanted to do. And so just a fun little way of, you never know. And I like the names. My father's name was Merrill, and here's my nephew, Michael, who seems so much like him, for whatever that's worth. Just some fun, just some fun. Okay, I think with that, probably time to move on to our chant. Return again and turn it back over to Julaine. Thank you.
Join in. Anne Marie?
I can do it, what, 7:21?
We have a responsive reading
Oh, she was muted.
with Tina, and I will share the
She's gonna-
slides.
she's gonna put it up.
Everyone can.
Okay, all right, very good.
There we go.
Okay. They are with us still. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are
They are
with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands and their hearts.
We take them with us and with them choose the deeper path of living.
Let us name those who lend strength in our lives now and before. I'll go first and then just call out the name of someone that you have loved and that you no longer have with you. My sister Karen.
My mother, Marion.
My mom and dad.
My mother, Marion.
My father, Sean.
My mother Marie, my father John.
My brother, John Wade.
My brother, Stephen.
Me granny and our great granny, Rosaline, Catherine, O'Shea, Wade.
My mother, Virginia.
My dear friend, Carol.
Great grandpa Dave Notfeld.
My sisters, Junie and Kathy, and my brother, Bunky.
My sister Amelia.
I can't leave out of this spirit transitioning the many wonderful animal friends that have been a part of my life. They are every bit as special to me as any human that ever lived. And bless them
I
all.
so agree. I was thinking of my cats.
Thank you all.
Well, thank you for sharing the names of your loved ones.
Can I share something
Yeah,
special?
yeah.
I was in Mexico at the.
Why don't come up here where the mic is? Sorry.
Cameron.
Hi. I was in Mexico on El Dia de Muerte. In, I guess it was 1974. And it was a little different than what Anne Marie described earlier. We were at the cemetery in the small town of San Bartolo, and all the grave sites were like mounds, and there were actually skulls on the ground that had been either dug up by dogs, and there were femurs. And this young woman was there, and she had a small coffin with her newborn baby in it. And she asked me to take a picture of her kneeling next to the coffin. And so I'm glad that Anne Marie reminded me today of the other celebrations around Mexico and the beauty and the sugar stalls and everything. And also, I got a phone call the next day, which was November 2nd. All Saints, was it All Saints Day or All Souls Day? I can't remember. And my mother died on that day. And so it is a special day for me and a day of remembrance. And so I just want to share that with you today. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, it's been 48 years.
What?
It's been 48 years since she passed.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. Okay, we actually have another chant from the virtual choir and Julaine. And this is Deep Peace.
Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the shining star to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the shining star to you. Deep peace of the shining star to you. Deep peace of the shining star to you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Julaine. I have some final words. I'm going to pronounce it Samhain. I'm sure it's different. And this is by Annie Finch. And she's calling it the Celtic Halloween. In the season, leaves should love, since it gives them leave to move through the wind towards the ground they were watching while they hung. Legend says there is a seam stitching darkness like a vein. Now, when dying grasses veil earth from the sky in one last pale wave, as autumn dies to bring winter back and then the spring, we who die ourselves can peel back another kind of veil, that hangs among us like thick smoke. Tonight at last, I feel it shake. I feel the nights stretching away, thousands long behind the days, till they reach the darkness where all of me is ancestor. I move my hand and feel a touch move with me. And when I brush my own mind across another, I am with my mother's mother. Sure as footsteps in my waiting self, I find her, and she brings arms that carry answers for me, intimate, awaiting bounty. Carry me. She leaves this trail through a shutter of the veil and leaves like amber where she stays, a gift for her perpetual gaze.